All right. Hey, folks. Thank you again for tuning in to my webinar here, my live webinar. This is Ray Warda, and today's webinar is on preparing yourself for the upcoming Hud REO contracts in 2017, and then, of course, next year, 2018. I'd like to, first off, thank you for taking your time to be joining me here today. It's going to be a full schedule here for the next, I'd say about 45 minutes to an hour. I'm not going to take longer than that. I just want to get you the most information at the soonest amount of, the lowest amount of time I can to provide the great information that I have for you today. But I want to make sure that everybody is tuning in, they're taking notes, they're ready to take on this information because it's going to be some good, valuable stuff here today. And I will be taking a Q&A at the end, so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, send them over to me, and then at the end, I'll be doing a Q&A of any questions that you may have regarding anything in the presentation or the REO world out there, in the HUD REO world and just the regular REO world. So please utilize that, and then also, I do want to let you know that if you stay all the way to the end, I got a treat for you guys at the end. So if you stay all the way, you'll also get a recording of this webinar sent directly to you, usually within a day after the webinar, because I do some editing and I make sure it's all good to go, and then I send it off to you. So you can have this as a resource for you all. So let's get going. I'm going to go with the agenda first. I'm going to discuss who I am, who Ray Warda is. Many of you have seen me speak at a lot of different events. Maybe I've done trainings in your state. But if you haven't, you'll get to know who I am today. I'll give you my personal opinion and forecast about the market, the 2017 to 18 real estate trends that I'm seeing. We'll talk about the overview of the HUD contracts and the terminology involved, the areas or the states that will be affected with the changes. And then we'll discuss HUD advertising guidelines, HUD's primary objective for its AMs, and then items that AMs are concerned with when it comes to their listing agents. So let's first off by who is Ray? Well, as you can see on the screen there, that's me, my beautiful face. You can see it. Say hi to me virtually, but that's me. I began my real estate career in 2001. Believe it or not, I started in the lending side of the business with the infamous and the #1 mortgage retailer for real estate with Countrywide Home Loans. And of course, as you can imagine, that's what I started my career off. And then later, I became a sales manager for Countrywide and started excelling my career in the real estate industry. I then became a real estate investor, which I still am currently a real estate investor, and I really enjoy that part of the business because I know that as a fellow agent, just like you all, we know that real estate is really what builds your wealth. So I enjoy that side of the business very much so. I became a licensed broker in the year 2007, had my own brokerage and both lending and real estate sales. And then in 2008, between 2008 and 2009, my career changed into the asset management world when there was the whole, of course, the debacle in the lending industry and the real estate market. And it was kind of a mess at that time, but we are still here and we overcame all that, which is a great thing. But that's when I took my career to a different path and went with asset management. I actually got my first asset management position with a company that you may be familiar with. Some areas are and some areas are not, but they were a company called Condor Capital, which was a company that purchased in portfolios of, they used to call them scratch and dent loans, and those were pretty much notes that were in default that we purchased in bulk from all the major lenders like Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Countrywide, all those pools of loans. And you may have even heard from me in contacting you personally about a CMA or BPO, because that's what we were trying to get to, make sure we can establish a value. But then I got recruited with BLB Resources, which is a HUD asset manager. And that's when my career started as the outreach and marketing director for that company. And I was speaking in a lot of events, and I held my own workshops and trainings teaching agents across the country about HUD homes and the whole sales process of HUD homes. And that's where I set up all the listing agent broker networks across 16 states in the country during 3 HUD asset management contracts. So as you can see, I trained over 10,000 real estate agents. I reviewed over 5,000 proposals, set up a HUD LLB network in 16 states consisting of over 700 agents through the HUD AM contracts. Just to point out, LLB, for those of you that don't know, it's an acronym, and HUD loves using acronyms, and that's just the way they do their business. And one acronym you'll learn is LLB. LLB stands for Local Listing Broker. HUD agents, the listing agents, they're not called listing agents, they're called LLBs. So I was responsible for setting up the LLB network in 16 states, which during 3 HUD AM contracts of starting of 3.0, then went to 3.5 and then 3.7. And now we're heading into a couple of new contracts that I'm going to be discussing here in a few. I then in just last year in 2016, mid-2016, I became an independent HUD and REO consultant, and now I consult to HUD asset managers, REO companies, and to agents and brokers just like you with regards to anything regarding real estate. So I am a real estate coach, and I do marketing consulting and HUD and REO consulting. So I got a vast majority of my experience. It's all real estate. Everything that I do, the investment side, the brokerage side, the real estate coaching, consulting, all has to do with real estate because that's just what I love, and I grew to be involved in that. Especially after I got my degree back in 2000 and year 2000, and my degree was Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science. But technology degree, I went with real estate because I just fell in love with it and knew that that was the way to go for me. So I found my passion. At the end of the day, I'm a serial entrepreneur and a learner. I continue to learn. I'm a firm believer of personal development because I've seen results from my life in business and personal when I dedicated myself to personal development and going that route. And that's why it made me just a better person, a better business person, a better agent, and better representing the real estate market. I am a family man, and I love to travel, and I do love to have a cigar every once in a while, but my whole hierarchy of things, it's God first, family second, everything else third. That's how I live my life. So that's a little bit about me, and I think that should do it as far as knowing a lot of things about me there. So let's go ahead and move on and talk to you about my contact information. As many of you probably know me, I am a very transparent person. That right there is my direct line to my company line, a couple of my websites, and my email address. Those are really the main sites. RayOnTheWeb.com takes you to my professional profile online, where it has all my websites, all my company stuff, everything that I do is all located there in one page. And then RayWarda.com is my blog, and that's my email address, ray@raywarda.com. So feel free to reach out to me with anything regarding any questions that you may have. So let's discuss my personal opinion and forecast. Of course, it's my personal opinion, and just by the experience that I've had in these REO markets the past decade, I know that REOs have always been there. They're not something new, but they were really new and to the forefront ever since 2008, 2009 debacle happened. So it just grew the number of REOs at that point, but REOs were there many, many years before that. And there was agents that were in the REO business back then, even working, REO properties back then, but they were as a supplemental type of business for them. And that's what I see now with the whole, passing up on all those years, last, 6, 7 years that we've had that big REO push. I think right now and moving forward, my forecast is that REOs are going to definitely be there, and they may even increase. But I always say keep it as a supplemental income for you. diversify your business, because it's not going to be, and it shouldn't be all REO. It should be a vast majority of different things, all within the same realm of the industry. So that way you can become an expert at certain fields of within the industry, because I think anything that you do is all related as long as it's real estate related. So you are the expert, and just kind of use that as a curve to diversify your business as it goes along. Some trends that I see happening: get on video. I mean, video is probably the #1 trend that we're seeing, especially live video. Especially live video where Facebook just put it on the map. That's definitely something that you want to get comfortable with. And I always say the other trend that I'm seeing is you really have to pay to play on social media now. It's not like it was before, where you posted something on social media and a bunch of people just saw it organically. It doesn't work like that now. Facebook really became the face of social media, and with their Facebook ads, they've just taken advertising to a next level when it comes to target marketing. And really now, as a business, your fan page, your business page really doesn't mean anything besides using it to create Facebook ads and paying for them. Ever since Facebook went public about a year and a half ago, I think, it was all about profits, and that changed the whole social media game. Really, everybody just took on after that, trying to see how they can make money and how they can, utilize income through social media. So Facebook really started this, and it's going to be just continuing, where it's really the face of the internet now with Facebook. So you got to pay to play on social media. I also see auctions as a big part of our business the next few years. Whether we like auctions or not, we really need to start creating some good relationships with auctions, because they do utilize real estate agents. They do utilize them in some fashion, way, or form. So you do need to get involved with auctions, as much as we may not like to, but it is what it is. That's where the market is heading. That's where we see a lot of stuff happening. And you want to always spend time on learning about marketing. This is like the most important thing I can tell you. They always say knowledge is power. I say it's more than that. I say, action is what makes knowledge power. So that's when the power happens, is when you utilize what you learn and take action. Have an execution plan to whatever you learn. You can't just learn something today from me and just keep it in your back pocket and not do anything with it. Then it doesn't matter how many times you watch this recorded video. It really is not going to do anything for you unless you take action. So I want you to at least commit yourself that you will be taking action. And you want to, of course, network and be social. You want to stay on top of the REO industry. And, these conferences are great conferences to attend. Anything that's coming up, that's where you can network with asset managers, with real estate agents that are across the country, where you can create relationships, a referral relationship. And believe it or not, some of the best relationships that are created in business are with other agents at these industry conferences. So don't be shy creating a relationship with another agent outside the state. You think that might not benefit you. That's actually opposite. It will benefit you more sometimes, because you never know what that other agent in a different states, what kind of contacts they have that they can share with you. So always utilize your industry as a learning tool and a networking tool. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be in 5-Star this year in September. I'm not too sure how many of you are joining us in 5-Star, but I will be actually speaking at 5-Star in their REO lab. So I would love to see you. If you do see me there, if you come by over there, come up and introduce yourself. I would love to meet you. But I'll be there as a speaker. So let's talk about the overview of the HUD contracts and some of the terminologies. Terminology is really important to understand, because that's what you're going to use. You're going to talk their language when you're putting a proposal together for HUD. You want to speak their language. You want to know what these acronyms mean and all these numbers and stuff, okay? I'm not going to go too deep into different numbers and geographic regions. I'm really going to stay specifically on states, because it's easier for you to remember states than geographical regions, okay? But let's start with what's an M&M. It's not those M&Ms that you see on your screen. It's not the candy. M&M is actually a disposition program that HUD has established, which stands for Marketing and Management. So the M&M program was set to disposition all of their HUD REOs. Now, prior to 2010, HUD REOs were really unknown, or they were known, but not too many people used to be, utilizing them as a source for inventory. They were difficult to deal with. It was not electronical like it is now. It was just a different era of the M&M contract. Ever since M&M 3.0 started in 2010, it really changed the whole way that agents do business with HUD, especially with the HUDHomestore.com being, I'm not, not because I consult to HUD asset managers and I've worked with HUD for the past decade. I'm not being biased because of that, but really I think HUDHomestore.com is really one of the best bidding sites, bidding platforms there is online, and the most easiest platform to learn and understand. So it's really something beneficial for agents to sell HUD homes. But of course, I know a lot of you are interested in listing HUD homes, and the opportunity is definitely going to be there within the next 6 months or so. So you want to prepare yourself on knowing what you need to do to get prepared for it. HOC, what is that? HOC. Well, HOC stands for Homeownership Center. HUD uses 4 regional homeownership centers in the country. There's what's called the Santa Ana HOC, which is in Orange County in Southern California, where I'm located. I'm located in Irvine in Southern California. There's the Denver HOC, which is in Colorado. There's the Philly HOC in Pennsylvania. And then there's the Atlanta HOC in Georgia. Those are the 4 homeownership centers for HUD. Every one of these centers takes control or monitors or manages certain amount of states. Okay, it's divvied up by those 4 regions. Okay, so that's what Homeownership Center stands for, and that's where all the HUD-related real estate stuff goes through the Homeownership Center. So you want to understand the types of contracts that are involved with HUD. There's really 3 or 4 actually major ones, but as an agent, you really want to know just these 2. These 2 are the ones that relate to agents, the FSM and the AM. The FSM stands for Field Service Manager. The AM stands for Asset Manager. Now, both of these have different roles. They're 2 different companies, and they're 2 different private companies that have nothing to do with each other. The FSM is a contract that's awarded to companies that bid on that particular contract, which means that they are the company that's going to handle all the field maintenance, the minor repairs for safety and hazard issues, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be maintaining the property. Okay, the AM, which is the asset manager, is the one that's going to be it's a different contract that their sole responsibility is the marketing and management of the HUD home and the HUD home listings. So once the FSM is done with whatever they're doing as far as maintaining the property, then it gets ready to be listed. And at that point, it gets transferred over to the AM, the asset manager, and the asset manager then utilizes their local listing brokers in all the different states to market and list the HUD homes locally in that market that they're in. Okay, that's what the 2 contracts are, and that's how they play the role together. Now, the length of these contracts, we're talking about contracts. Contracts are, what HUD has out there that they award these contracts to the certain companies that are going to be managing their HUD homes. Well, on the AM contracts, typically the contracts go for 5 years, typically. And it's really not set in stone that it's going to go the complete 5 years because it has what's called annual renewals. Okay, so HUD really has the option after the first year, if they see that their asset manager is not performing, or they run out of funds for whatever reason, or whatever the case may be, they have the prerogative of not renewing that contract. So at that point, it may go to a solicitation to create another bid for some other contract company to bid on. And that's what we're going through right now. There are many reasons why HUD will not renew a contract and kind of terminate the contract sooner than later. I'm not going to discuss the reasons why because I'm then going to be speculating. I wouldn't do that. But there are reasons why HUD would cut a contract short and resolicit the contract to another asset management company. And as we'll be discussing, as you see on your screen, the 3.75 is one of the contracts that was cut short, and it is going to be going into solicitation. So you want to pay attention. And then 3.9 is the contract that's actually going to be coming up to the 5-year anniversary, the first quarter of next year. So I'll tell you, there's about 65% of the country, even if not more, is going to have some HUD asset management changes. So you got to be ready for it and get your proposals ready because it's time to play now. This is your opportunity, okay? These contracts are going to be small business set aside, meaning that the contractors, the asset management contractors, will be small businesses. They're not accepting large businesses in these contracts for now, at least. That's per the pre-solicitation. They can consider teams and JVs, meaning that some of these small businesses can joint venture with a larger business as a subcontractor. The larger business would be a subcontractor, and they would handle, let's say, the sourcing of listing agents, let's say, or whatever the case may be. They'll divide up the task. But that's a possibility where that might happen, but it's going to be awarded to only one asset manager for each particular state. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now let's discuss the areas affected, and the best way I can discuss that is to show you a map. Okay, so I want to go through this map exactly so that way you understand and know what's involved here. Okay, now there's two separate solicitations. As you can see on your screen, this is the asset management map of 3.9, but 3.7 just also came out right before 3.9. 3.75, I should say, not 3.7. Okay, so 3.75 is the pre-solicitation, and that's what's out right now, the pre-solicitation, and that's for the states. And keep in mind, I'm going to read off these states so that way you know if you belong in these states. I'm going to read the 3.75 states and the 3.9 states. Okay, 3.75 states are Georgia, Colorado, New Mexico, North Texas, Utah, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and West Virginia. Okay, those are the states that are going to be affected with the 3.75, and that's right here. As you can see, Georgia's in red, and then these blue states right here, which is the 1D contract area, and then also these light green states here, excluding Michigan. These light states here that I mentioned as well. Those are the states that are going to be affected immediately with a 3.75 contract. Okay. Now the dates of these contracts, I don't like throwing dates out there because of the fact that HUD changes a lot of these dates. Trust me, I've been in 3 different HUD contracts in the past 8 years, 9 years. I know that HUD changes happen quite often with dates and, so nothing's really set in stone, but there are going to be changes because contracts are up. It's just a matter of, are awards going to happen within a month? Are they going to happen within 2 months? Are they going to happen within 3 months? But I know that they're going to be happening within the next 6 to 9 months, if not less. So we're going to be hearing some stuff about that. But the 3.75, the states that I just mentioned, those are set aside for small business asset management companies. And listen to this. They are going to be based on a 6-month base period with only 2 12-month option periods, meaning that this contract, because it's kind of an emergency contract that is cut short of the original contract, it will only be about a 2.5-year contract, okay? So you need to make sure that this is when you want to get in the game, okay? So what that means is this contract is definitely coming up. I'd say within the next month or two, the actual solicitation is going to be out. Once the solicitation is actually out, now we're in the pre-solicitation form, but once it's out completely, then you have a 30-day window for asset managers to get their bids in. And then once the award is announced, that's when you as the agent can try to go after these asset managers and, of course, submit your proposals. But you want to make sure, let me tell you something, it's a very competitive market. It's a very competitive industry. Everybody that lists HUD homes currently knows that HUD homes, HUD REO listings are awesome. When you get them, they are awesome. You don't do any repair work on these homes. There's no rehab work done on them. There's a lot of benefits to listing HUD homes, okay? But at the same time, it's a very task-oriented account. So you need to make sure that you have your ducks in a row. And that's why you want to present your proposal in the best possible shape or form that you can, okay? Now, let's discuss all the other states. The 3.9 contract, which is another contract that's going to be coming up for a new AM. That covers the following states. So if you belong in any of these states, you want to get your proposals ready. States of Arizona, California, Hawaii, Guam, Nevada, Idaho, Alaska, Washington, Oregon. That's this whole West Coast here that I just mentioned, okay, this yellow portion here. Now, the other states, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, and that is these right here, these other light blue-gray shaded states, okay? Let's move on. Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, Minnesota, that is these dark blue shaded states right here, okay? Let's go on. Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Those are the Northeast New England states up here. So as you can see, pretty much all of the color-coded states that you see here, green, this red state here, Georgia, all of these states right here in blue, and these yellow shaded states here in the West, they're all going to be coming up for renewal, and opportunities are going to be there for those particular states. Now with the 3.9 contract, the difference with that one is it's a contract that's going to expire in its normal expiration period. So the new contracts are actually going to be 5-year contracts at a 12-month renewal option renewal periods. Okay, so this is going to be pretty much the whole 5-year contract. Keep that information in mind because it's really important. Now, a couple of states that are kind of up in the air that were originally in the 3.9, and that's why they were shaded green, is Ohio and Michigan. Okay, now recently these two were taken out for now. I'm not too sure exactly why, but they were included once in the 3.9. Just recently, about a couple of weeks ago, that changed, and Ohio and Michigan are no longer in this particular package. But if you're in Ohio and Michigan, doesn't mean that there may not be any changes soon. There may be something coming up here. And Illinois, that other red state, that's also a state in limbo that may have changes coming up on that one as well. So Michigan, Ohio, and Illinois, it's kind of up in the air right now. So I'll keep a definite close eye on it and provide updates as I see them. But those are the states that are affected. So now that you know what states are affected and if you are in those states or not, here's what you need to do. You need to figure out what's happening next. What can you do now? So that's the reason I want to discuss HUD advertising guidelines. first and foremost, because a big part of your proposal is marketing, okay? You need to understand what the advertising guidelines for HUD are, so that way you don't look like a rookie when you're putting your proposal together. The guidelines are as follows. And I'll tell you one thing. I've trained like thousands and thousands of agents out there and been across the country doing these outreach events and training and workshop on HUD homes. And believe it or not, I'd say about 75 to 80% of the agents that I talk to and train directly did not know that you as an agent can advertise any HUD home listing without the listing agent's permission, which is really phenomenal when you think about it, because now it levels the playing field between the agent, the buyer's agent, and the listing agent. Okay, so that right there tells you that you have the opportunity to be able to advertise and market any HUD home listing just as if you were the listing agent, but of course you just can't call yourself the listing agent. Another thing, you want to make sure that your brokerage that you belong to has a NATE certification. That's really important, okay? Because that's that's part of the guidelines is you have to be NATE certified. Your brokerage has to be NATE certified for you to advertise HUD homes. Okay. The other thing is you want to use correct phrases. You want to use phrases like HUD homes, HUD acquired, or HUD owned, or HUD REO. All these phrases can be used when you're advertising HUD homes. And then, of course, there's certain phrases that you don't want to use, which I'm going to be going through the HUD advertising guideline don'ts in a second here. And then don't forget, one of the important things is to always remember to include the Equal Housing Opportunity logo on any HUD home that you advertise, whether it's online or offline. You need to make sure that the Equal Housing Opportunity logo is there. Next, you want to adhere to local, federal, real estate commission, and MLS advertising regulations, including Truth in Lending Act, including, as I mentioned, your MLS. So if your MLS, let's just say, forces you to get permission from the listing agent in order to advertise that particular property, if you're more comfortable, then you would be then emailing the listing agent, telling them that you just want to confirm in writing that you are able to advertise their properties. And they should tell you yes, because they are supposed to tell you that, because any agent can market the HUD homes. And then you have it in writing if you wanted it. You don't need it. You also want to make sure there's consistency in your pricing when you're marketing HUD homes, meaning you want to make sure that the price of the property is the same identical price as it shows on the HUD website. So HUD homes go through price reductions. So you want to make sure that your price that you're advertising, whether it's on paper or online, it matches what the HUDHomestore.com active listing price is. Okay, so make sure of that. Next, let's go through some marketing don'ts. Do not use the HUD seal. This is important. The HUD seal that you see is a registered trademark of HUD, and unless you are directly authorized by HUD to use it, which 99% of agents are not, you should not use that. That is a HUD seal that should not be used in your marketing. I know a lot of people put that up there in their marketing as like authority. It's, they contract out of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. It doesn't work like that. You cannot do that. So just keep that in mind. Another thing is you don't want to refer to HUD homes in a negative way, meaning don't call them HUD repos or HUD repossessed or HUD foreclosures. Don't refer to them as must sell. You want to keep it positive, okay? That's the main thing that you want to make sure you do. You do not do. Do not let your voicemail boxes become full. That really, I threw that in there because that's just my personal pet peeve. When I call agents trying to get information from them regarding a certain HUD home, or one of my listing agents that I brought aboard myself, and when I have a voicemail box that's full, it's really disheartening to me, because how could an agent that's in the business have voicemail boxes that are full unless there's something that really just happened to that person and, there's a valid reason to it. But most of the time, it's just agents kind of get lazy sometimes and don't clear up their voicemail boxes. And don't be that agent. That's all I got to tell you. And then do not advertise as properties as coming soon. HUD does not allow that. HUD, any HUD home that you advertise must be active on the market on HUDHomestore.com. And do not portray yourself as a listing agent, as I mentioned. So you can't call yourself the listing agent, or you call yourself a showing agent. They're a very different way of presenting. And then the HUD advertising guidelines extended to where you can advertise, whether it's online or offline, plenty of places. I mean, you have a great opportunity to market these HUD homes in a very effective way and capture leads for yourself. All that's going to do is create more income for you and your team. That's why I tell people, my fellow agents that I talk to and train all the time and coach, I say you're crazy if you don't take advantage of HUD homes as a marketing tool, because you can market all these HUD homes, especially if you're a new agent. Guess what? If you're a new agent and you're in an area where there's 30 active listings on HUDHomestore.com, guess what? Those 30 active listings are yours to market. It's so easy to do that compared to, imagine doing that on any other REO or any other home that's traditionally sold. You have to get permission from the listing agent to use their photos and to even market before you can even market their HUD home or their home in general. With HUD homes, you go on HUD Home Store website, choose which property you want, take the pictures, market them all day long. Go at it. Now, let's move on. Let's talk about 5 primary objectives that HUD has for their AMs. Now, the next 2 topics I'm going to discuss are important, because just as important as marketing, of course, because this is stuff that you're going to be needing to use on your content. And when you're putting your proposal together, you want to make sure that you're using this content to add in your proposal. Okay, this is stuff that HUD's objectives are for their AMs. So if you know these things, then you'll have an idea of what you can put in your proposal that's going to make you look good. First, HUD expects accurate values from their AMs, meaning that the property should be accurately and competitively valued. So they have to make sure that the asset managers that they hire, that they award, utilize appraisers that are local, at least for the most part. I know that some rural areas in the country, it's really hard to get a local appraiser. But you want to make sure that the AM needs to make sure that they use good appraisers that have accurate values, because that's what they're technically scored on. And the time frames and timelines, they submit these appraisals back to HUD. Okay. The second thing is HUD's one of the 5 primary objectives is the highest net return. They want the sales to achieve the highest net to HUD. That's their bottom line. That's what HUD is concerned. That's what the asset managers are scored on. So imagine what you should be putting in your proposal regarding days on market, regarding net returns. Okay. Third one, holding time. Minimize holding time, and that is really up to you as a marketing person to market that property effectively to reduce the days on market and to reduce the amount of time in inventory for the asset manager. When you do that for the asset manager and you're getting their property sold in a short amount of time, getting it off their inventory in a short amount of time, that's the happiest you'll make the asset manager, because guess why? The asset manager is scored by HUD on their holding time. So you want to make sure that you know that. Number 4, owner-occupant opportunities. You want to show that you create home ownership opportunities, because that's what HUD requests. One of their biggest missions for HUD is to create stability in local communities by creating homeowners, not investors. Investors don't create stability. It's the homeowners that do. So they want to see a good percentage of HUD homes being sold to owner occupants. And you as the agent should understand what that objective is, because AMs are scored on that. I'm telling you some good information that you should definitely be taking notes on. Number 5 is closing proceeds. Okay, they want to know that the closing proceeds are properly accounted for and delivered to HUD in a timely manner. So that's something between the AM and HUD. It really has not much to do with you, because that's the reconciliation part, but that is one of the HUD's 5 primary objectives for its AMs. Now, let's discuss the 6 factors that asset managers look for in their listing agents. And as you'll see in the next 6 slides, that these items and factors that asset managers look for, believe it or not, they emulate what HUD looks at from wants from their asset managers. So again, days on market. Most want to reduce their inventory of REOs and sell them quickly. So you need to make sure that you have content in your proposal about days on market and how your plan is to reduce it. 2, pricing strategy. Lenders and AMs and servicers want to know the real situation with the market, and they're relying on you to show them. They evaluate the quality of the BPO primarily on its timeliness and accuracy. So we're talking about BPOs here. You want to make sure that you're submitting good quality, effective BPOs. Third thing, net proceeds. Very familiar with the HUD factors. Lenders and AMs need to minimize their losses with these transactions, and you will need to show them how you'll save them time and money. Number 4, marketing and advertising. This is a big one. Lenders and AMs want to hear specifics from the agent about how you'll market their properties. And I'm not telling them in general, oh, I'm going to market your properties online. Whoop-de-doo. 99.99% of the other agents are going to say the exact same thing. That does not benefit you. That doesn't make you stand out from your competition, because competition is fierce out there, especially with HUD proposals and putting them together. Okay, you want to make sure that you're specific about your marketing. You want to make sure that you stay local. You don't want to portray yourself, oh, I can cover the whole state of, let's say, for example, California. There's a lot of agents that come to me and say, oh, I cover Southern California. Well, that's a bunch of bull. I don't care who it is. You cannot, as an agent, cover the whole state of Southern California. Just getting from Orange County to LA takes you 2 hours sometimes with traffic. So don't tell me that you can cover the whole state. My meaning is you want to make sure that you localize yourself and be the local expert out there. Okay, let's go on. 5, your experience and qualifications. Okay, you want to, whether your company is small, large, or in between in size, it doesn't matter, or if it's national or local, you as the agent have something to offer. Discuss your qualifications or your company's qualifications in terms of how they will assist, how you will assist the lender and the AM in solving their problems. And that leads to number 6, being a resource. You'll need to demonstrate how and what you will do to decrease the stress and anxiety and make the process easier and smoother for everyone. Asset managers will fall in love with you as long as you're a great resource for them and you have smooth transactions and you're on top of your game. Especially if you have a team situated where you have a team set up, well, that's even better. But if you're a solo agent, there's a lot of solo agents that I brought aboard as HUD listing agents. Why? Because they impressed me with the things that they knew about their local market, the way they marketed, and the way they took care of their business. So keep that in mind, okay? So now what? Now that you know the 6 factors that asset managers look for in listing agents, the 5 primary objectives that HUD looks for in their asset managers, and you know the advertising guidelines. Now that you have all this information, what do you need to do? Well, you need to create a winning marketing proposal and resume. You have to prepare for the upcoming changes that'll happen. Otherwise, you'll achieve the same results you did before. Don't wait until the last minute to put together your winning HUD REO proposal and resume. It's important. Don't wait till the last minute. I know there's a lot of people that wait. until the opening time when asset managers are collecting applications. And there's a very small window of opportunity. Usually, sometimes it's within a week. If you don't have that package in within that week, you're done. You can't apply with them, and then you're going to be stuck on the outside looking in. So right now, you're sitting at your computer watching this webinar. You've heard me go through the overview of the HUD 3.75, the 3.99 contracts and terminology. You've heard me go through the areas that will be affected. You've heard me go through the HUD advertising guidelines and marketing don'ts. You've also heard from me regarding the HUD's 5 primary objectives, and you've also heard the 6 factors that asset managers look for in LOBs. You know that you don't have too much time to get ready for this next opportunity. So if you are one that is really serious about the upcoming HUD REO opportunity, you may be wondering, how can I put together a winning proposal? Or how could I use this information shown to me today in a step-by-step easy way? Or you're just tired of being one of the best realtors in your local market area, but were never given the opportunity to become a HUD REO listing agent. I know you're frustrated, and I want to help. And I've seen this a lot, trust me. I've seen a lot of frustrated agents out there that have contacted me because they didn't have their proposals ready, and they passed that deadline, and they were on the outside looking in and wondering, how in the world, or why is it that I never get a chance to become a listing agent? Well, I had a lot of great demand out there. With that demand, I've decided to launch an online video course because a lot of agents were asking me how to put together a winning proposal. And I called it Formula for a Winning HUD REO Proposal. I've created a 6-module video course on creating a HUD REO marketing proposal and resume, along with my tips and strategies, where I break down in detail each section of the proposal and resume step by step. This course is designed to give you everything you need to create your HUD proposal and resume. So if you want to have the opportunity to learn from me, the HUD REO expert that has reviewed over 5,000 applications and proposals through 3 different HUD AM contracts, trained over 10,000 real estate agents across the country, set up a network of over 700 listing agents across 16 states in the U.S., then this program is specifically for you. So here's how we'll do it. Module 1 is the value offer. That's the first module I have. Module 2 is your website. Module 3 is called BPOs. Module 4 is the application. 5 is the resume, and 6 is the marketing proposal. I want to go through what these modules include. In Module 1, you'll discover what your value proposition is and different examples of value proposition. In Module 2, you'll discover what to look out for on your website so that it matches your proposal. Because they are going to be looking at your websites. I always do when I do that as far as looking for an agent. In Module 3, you'll discover do's and don'ts of your BPOs and what to look out for when you're creating them. In Module 4, you'll discover things to look out for in the application process and how to prepare for it. Because every asset manager is different. Some of them will have applications that you have to fill out by yourself besides your proposal. So I'll tell you exactly what to expect in those applications. In Module 5, you'll discover in detail, step by step, how to format your resume and what to put in each section of the resume. This is where it gets deep here, okay? And then the nuts and bolts to the whole thing, putting it together, is Module 6. You'll discover in detail, step by step, how to format your marketing proposal and what to put in each section of the proposal. So here's what I want you to do now. If you implement everything I just showed you, you would probably be able to put together a general proposal. But is it an extraordinary and captivating proposal? That's the question. To increase your chances of winning a HUD LLB contract, you need to invest in my step-by-step formula for a winning HUD REO proposal course right now. So, time to invest in yourself. My strategies will increase your chances of getting your proposal noticed and considered. I've had clients pay me thousands of dollars for consulting sessions on putting together their HUD REO packages. I originally set the initial price point on this course at $997, considering the generous detailed information I provide in my step-by-step course. After some thinking, though, I settled on $697. I said that's really a fair price where a lot more people can afford. But, you know, the day before I launched it, I really wanted to make your decision a no-brainer. So with that, you can get all my strategies and information for a one-time payment of $347 by going to reoproposal.com, and I am going to share that link with you in the chat. This is really undervalued at $347, but I also said when, you know, I'm gonna add some more here, because when you claim your spot in my Formula for Winning HUD REO Proposal course, only from today's webinar, I'm going to give you an additional 4 bonuses. These bonuses are really valued over $1,000. So let's discuss these bonuses. Bonus 1, I'll give you a video that has important tasks of a HUD REO agent. I'll reveal the exact tasks of a HUD listing agent, especially the ones that affect the scorecard. Okay, this will help you use that content and verbiage in parts of your proposal. That's important. Okay. Bonus 2 is a video on marketing HUD homes and your brand on Instagram. Instagram is one of the quickest growing social media platforms out there. Here you'll learn tips on marketing HUD homes on Instagram, setting up your bio, what and when to post, and more. Video 3, you'll get an online marketing platform video on how to market HUD homes effectively. I'll reveal an online marketing platform in which you can market HUD homes by creating landing pages, single property sites, posting on Craigslist, Facebook, Facebook ads, YouTube, virtual tours, and more, just by entering the FHA case number. This will make you look like a marketing pro. And then bonus 4 is my REO Asset Manager Black Book. I'll give you access to my Black Book of REO Asset Managers, contact information, so that you can create relationships and network with them. The value of this is really priceless on this bonus number 4. So in addition to all this, you'll also get 2 review videos. One of them is the 6 factors that AMs look for in the listing agents and what their expectations are. I went through this today, but I wanted to include it in my video course in some more detail as a review, because it's important to understand these factors when you're putting your proposal together. The second video is titled The HUD's 5 Primary Objectives for its AMs, which is another thing that you want to understand, because when you're putting your package together, you want to know what HUD expects from their AMs just as much as what AMs expect from their listing agents. If you know that, you know exactly what your expectations as a future listing agent would be if you were one that was chosen. So this will definitely help you put together the package. So my promotional price of $347 for my course and bonuses will only be available for the next couple of weeks. After that, I will bring the price up to $997, which was the original price I had in mind. reoproposal.com, quick recap, you'll get 6-module Formula for a Winning HUD REO Proposal video course. You'll get my 2 review videos. You'll get the important tasks of an HUD REO agent bonus video. You'll get the marketing HUD homes and your brand on Instagram bonus video. You'll also get the online marketing platform to market HUD homes effectively, a bonus video, and my exclusive REO Asset Manager Black Book. In closing, I do want to let you know that this is an amazing value. You want to take advantage of this incredible offer and discount while you can, plus all of the amazing bonuses. So visit reoproposal.com. I will open up for any Q&A questions that you may have, and I'm going to go to the chat box because I had a couple of questions already come up that I want to help answer. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to just enter it in there, and we will definitely get them answered. So let's go to question number 1. Somebody's asking, if you're currently an LLB, do you need to resubmit an application? And if the current LLB is required to submit an application, When do they do that? Well, that's a great question. I'll tell you one thing. The asset management companies that I've dealt with all make sure that no agent is grandfathered in. Okay, so as a current LLB, you will have to resubmit and reapply as a new agent and resubmit a whole proposal, because nobody is grandfathered in on these new contracts. It starts all over. The application process starts all over, so everybody has to resubmit at that time. Let's see. It says, are you saying that I can use pictures that the listing agent took to advertise HUD homes? In the past, I would actually go to the HUD home and take my own pictures and advertise them. When I was with Zillow, I no longer use Zillow. Thank you. Okay, another great question. Yes, you are able to use the same pictures from HUDHomestore.com. As long as it's from HUDHomestore.com, definitely. You can use those pictures because they are on the HUD website. Now, if you're comfortable, if you want to take your own pictures, great. Go to the house, drive by, because let me tell you something. One of the great marketing ways to market a HUD home is actually doing a virtual tour on it. So I would actually go out to the property, especially if it's a really nice property, because there are HUD homes that are pretty nice. I would actually go out and do a virtual tour and take my own pictures and post a video up on YouTube. And that marketing platform that I use on marketing my homes and listings that I have, and on my traditional side of the business, I actually use this marketing platform, and in that marketing platform, they actually have a way to fetch HUD homes just by the FHA case number, and you get all the pictures and everything, all the particulars of the property, all with that. It's all fed through that platform. So definitely take advantage of that. Great questions. Another question I have says, am I guaranteed to be chosen as a HUD REO agent? That's a really good question. It's a funny question at the same time, but it's a good question. Although the course is designed to give you the greatest opportunity to showcase your experience and your company the best possible way, we never can guarantee that you'll get the opportunity to become a HUD listing agent, because there's just so many applicants out there that apply. And it just matters on what you present, what your experience, and this is why it's important, folks, to put a good package together. Because a lot of times, you know what your experience is as an agent. You just don't know what to put on paper. Well, this course that I have made really gives you some great insights on what to put in these sections that will open up your mind to things that you can put on your proposal. So it's really about presentation, okay? Putting together a good proposal to give yourself the best chance available to be considered. Now, I'll tell you one thing. If you take my video course, overall, it's really going to make you a better agent, not just as a listing, but a better agent as a whole. Because guess what? This package that you put together and you learn how to put it together can be put together on any REO asset manager, not just HUD. The platform, the format is all the same for any REO asset management company that you submit your package to. It's just that this course is more detailed and specific and niche through the HUD listings. But it doesn't mean that tweaking the content a little bit and you would be able to take that same package and give it to a REO asset manager that's not HUD. So that's the benefit of this package as a whole. Says another question came up, how would this video course be delivered? Well, that's a good question, because what happens is everyone that invests in this video course has a back-end portal that they are introduced to. They log in, they have a username and password, and all of the content and videos are all there in a menu format. In addition, when HUD contracts are awarded, and this is the good part here, when HUD contracts are awarded, I will make sure that I communicate the awards as I get them, of course. I'll communicate those awards to my inner circle in that portal. So whoever's invested in themselves to put together a good video, to put together their package, there's a communication portal in there where I communicate with all the agents in my portal to give them either updates as they come along, as I get them every so often, and updates for sure on who the contract awardees are. That way, you know firsthand, okay, these are the companies that I have to deal with. Okay, these are the companies that I need to network with. At the same time, in the course, I also have a handout that is a PDF file of all of the current HUD asset managers and their contact information. So that way you get to become familiar with the current asset managers, and you can actually start your networking at that point with them, with the current AMs right now. And you get that also in my course. It's part of the content that's in there. So there's a lot of extras in there that you'll notice that are a part of that. So are there any other questions? I don't see any other questions, but I do urge you to go to reoproposal.com, and that's where you can register for my course. Again, this price point is a very, very low price point, affordable. I made it that way because I do care about your business. I do care about, for those people that have seen me train, they know that I provide value, and I really want the best of success for each and every one of you. That's my main thing. It's something that I have myself, that I really want to create that legacy on this earth, because we all will depart one day or another from this earth, and we want to make sure that we leave a legacy behind that will never be forgotten. And that's my main goal. So with that said, if I don't have any questions, I really don't want to take more of your time. We've been together here for an hour, and I promised it would take an hour or less, so I'm committing to that because I know your time is valuable. If you have any questions, again, I will throw my my email address in the chat box here, and then also my contact number. If you have any questions or need help with anything, feel free to reach out to me. I am a very transparent and available person, so feel free to reach out. Thank you again for joining my webinar. I appreciate every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you out there more often. And don't forget, I'll be at 5-Star. If you're all there this year, come up to me and introduce yourself and say hi. Thanks a lot, folks. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.